What is going on, guys? Welcome back to For the XP, a YouTube channel dedicated to D&D and tabletop gaming alike. My name is Brent. I will be your host / Dungeon Master for episode 9 of Campaign Diaries. So the last time we talked, the party had went down into the south of Blood Gulch Crossing to check out some bandits that were attacking the city, and they quickly found the stronghold and made quick work of the first wave of soldiers that they came across. And the party drained the spells and exhaustion from slaughtering the group of bandits with complete gusto within a crumbling fortress that is for the Ravenclaw clan. They took a chance to sleep for the night, only to be woken up within the night by a loud, fiery explosion, and was surprised by more bandits and a demonic enemy lurking outside. Because the party was in their rest period, they actually suffered a surprise round of attacks from Ravenclaw bandits, 2 Ravenclaw cultists, and a death dog. So they basically got attacked by 3 grunt guys and 2 spellcasters and a pet. And during the battle, Rajan had suffered. Rajan is also D'Angelo's companion, Wolf, who he had suffered heavy damage from fighting one-on-one with this death dog and became diseased by it from failing its constitution saving throws against its disease bite. And during the battle, they could hear this demonic voice calling out to them. And in response, Durgan had been calling him back out from the keep out of anger from the young girl that was slain by the bandits. So he was ready to fight. He was ready to go. And the party itself had a little bit more of a struggle with these first group because they initially had sort of a surprise round, so they were already on the back end of it because of Eilon's elven or fey nature. Let him regain his spells, even though it had only been like 4 hours, but he was on the second watch anyway, and D'Angelo wasn't. D'Angelo was actually the one on the first watch, which allowed Eilon to gain his spells back. If it had been the other way around, they would have been on a severe disadvantage and would have had to fight these guys with a continuous lack of spells. And the reason for that was because down below the Fort Ravenclaw itself, there's these catacombs, and down at the bottom there's a cult summoning for this guy named Lord Ravenclaw, which Lord Ravenclaw was the guy that Talos Icebrand fought back in the first age of Astria. And these cultists were trying to summon him. And so basically I had a timer set up that if they didn't go down there within a certain amount of time, that this ritual was going to succeed. So fast forward to the battle. Finally they took care of the actual the bandits and the spellcasters themselves, and they went outside to see this humanoid figure looking to be covered in like charred armor forged in steel and like volcanic rock, red flames emitting from the creases of the steel, and the helmet was shaped in the form of like a skull with 2 long horns curling down to the perimeter of the creature's face, sort of like a centaur's horns or a Goristro's horns. And the creature that they fought the party would later find out is to be called Baal the Reanimator. And the battle went super well. The party had definitely were challenged. Baal had this ability to fly, thus making most melee combat useless whenever he chose to rise from the ground, which he spent the good 3/4 of the battle actually above ground, casting down spells or rays. And 2 of the party members themselves would actually would have been downed. It would have been 2 versus 1, or 2 versus the boss monster, if they had not made critical successes on their con saving throws. This would have been Durgan and Norik, the fighter and the cleric. So their healer would have been down, and then their main melee combatant would have been down, and that would have put them in a really, really tough spot. But because they had both made their saves, they only took half the damage, which was actually 14 points of damage, and at this time they think they were only level 3. So 14 points of damage was serious business. They looked at me like I was insane, like holy shit, that's only for half. So if they only would have made, they would have been knocked out. I think Durgan was actually at 1 HP by the end of it, or by that into that party. And at the end, during the battle, actually Eilon himself actually suffered from a fear ray. And so most of the battle, Eilon was fighting the frightened condition against Baal the Reanimator, so he couldn't get closer to Baal the Reanimator, nor his attacks were also at disadvantage against him, which is really kind of cool story-wise, because Eilon actually got the kill shot on Baal the Reanimator using an acid orb, this was a chromatic orb, but he made the damage acid, and basically it kind of melted. And later, when you find out that Baal the Reanimator was actually this black spectator specialized in necromancy, he was kind of like the servant of Lord Ravenclaw. And when they tried to summon Lord Ravenclaw, what had happened is that his body was possessed by Lord Ravenclaw's spirit and mutated the spectator into the monster that they fought in the battle. So that's where these magical spellcasting things. It was basically like the eye stalks of the spectator, and basically got to use them like spells, but there were eye ray stalks. And one thing that I kind of forgot about in the description of this thing they were fighting is that they had an eyeball within the palm of its hand, and then a huge eyeball within the armor plate. I know that's kind of important, and I don't even understand why I initially forgot to point that out. But when Eilon got the kill shot, he nailed it right in the chest, melted the eyeball, and like the body itself exploded, leaving bits and chunks of Baal the Reanimator's armor and the helmet itself, leaving it. I left that kind of for Norg, because Norg is a collector of heads and he likes cool armor, so I kind of left that there for him to discover, so it'd be interesting for him. And then the last thing that was also left within this crater of where the explosion was actually like a sleeve. It looked like a plain like gray sleeve, but there was a heavy magic emanating from it. And Norg, being that the holy nature that he is, or not Norg, but Durgan, being of the holy nature that it is, he quickly discovered that this thing was also of evil energy and may have been cursed. So he used a lesser restoration spell and actually removed the evil. And kind of sort of put it on, and it morphed into like this gauntlet that went up like his arm and shoulder, creating like plate armor but gold. And like on the shoulder itself, it was dangling like these owl feathers, which kind of ties into his backstory, which I did that kind of for him. But the thing about the sleeve though is the sleeve itself would have morphed into something that custom to each character. So whoever would have worn it, it would have been different for each time. I think, and it would have been like basically their spirit, their animal spirit. And Durgan's was an owl. D'Angelo's a wolf, obviously. Norg would have been a stag, and then because Eilon is a draconic nature sorcerer, it would have been like a dragon gauntlet claw sort of thing. And because Durgan put it on, he got a gold metal plated shoulder gauntlet thing with owl feathers dangling from it. And basically the combat stopped there. They were kind of recovering, so especially the healers with Norg, or Eilon and Durgan, being that the spellcasters they are, they didn't really want to go too further into the catacombs of Fort Ravenclaw, because they were kind of scared that there might be more people down there. So they stayed up and had D'Angelo and Norg actually continue forward and kind of scout out the area and kind of figure out what was going on. And so through scouting, they came across actually an empty catacomb, except for two people that were in these makeshift cells that they were keeping the prisoners of the caravans that they had attacked to use for the ritual to summon Lord Ravenclaw. And one of them's name was Dorian, which was like this human bodyguard kind of guy who was guarding these cat-like men, which if we all have Volo's Guide to Monsters right now, they would be Tabaxi. I wanted a way to kind of introduce them into my campaign, my homebrew world, and because even though it's kind of cliche for everybody to love cat-like creatures, especially if you're a Skyrim fan, it's obviously kind of like, I don't know if this is way Wizards of the Coast looked at it, but I kind of looked at the Tabaxi as kind of like a shout out to the Khajiit, and I kind of always liked them, so I kind of added them in. And then there was Talia. Now Talia is a special character because she was sort of a runaway from home, and the session afterwards, Norg had found out that she was the stepdaughter of his friend Grogan Rock Smasher. Gorgon Rock Smasher was actually the whole reason why Norik was in Astria to begin with, and Norik's not from Astria. And so he found that through a conversation in the next session. We'll get into that a little more within 10 and 11. But the party actually had successfully cleared out the dungeon eventually. They got plenty of loot. They got the sleeve that turned into a gauntlet. They got some scrolls and a couple potions. And then I believe Norik had taken some battle maps that were ancient and kind of that were kind of scribing out some of the battle plans that Lord Ravenclaw had in the battle for Black Run with Talos Icebrand. And after that, shortly after, they kind of cleared up the area, loaded up their cart, buried the bodies of the caravan of the Grey Mace clan, and then basically got ready to set on their way back to Blood Gulch Crossing to, in fact, go turn in their reward, per se. Norik had actually cut off the head of Dodjul to present as the leader of the Ravenclaw clan. So Baron Galladon Crescentwind had proof that they were taken out of, and they also took the patches and the amulets that the Ravenclaw cultists were wearing. They basically, and through further investigation of the catacombs, they also discovered, an ancient tome of necromantic summoning that they were using to summon Lord Ravenclaw, and basically they just kind of figured out what they were doing down there. So that's basically what happened in session 9. If you guys have any questions about any of these sessions that I'm talking about, I can answer them down in the comments below. If you are enjoying, hearing about my campaign, please hit that like button. If you enjoy hearing me talk, please hit that subscribe button. I'm going to get more videos out, I promise. As always, guys, thank you for watching. And always remember, no matter what it is you do in life, do it for the XP. Thank you and have a good night.